uploaded my first YouTube video in November 2020. 7 months after that, I handed in my notice to leave my full-time job. 8 months after that, I actually managed to turn over 6 figures in revenue for my business as a full-time content creator. Like, I know how crazy that sounds. It sounds crazy to me too. And recently I've been reflecting a lot on my journey, and I've actually managed to pinpoint a few things that I did which were really, really pivotal when it came to my ability to become a full-time content creator as quickly as I did. So I want to share those things with you today in the hopes that it's going to help any of you who are trying to also become a full-time content creator or a full-time entrepreneur. Let's just get straight to it, shall we? Sorry, I always get ahead of myself there. If you like this type of content, then please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, maybe even leave me a comment. It really helps me out, and also I upload content similar to this every single week. Okay, let's actually get started now. So the first thing that I did, and the first thing that I recommend that you do, is to focus on your audience and the money will come. So you know that phrase, what's that phrase? Is it like follow your passion and the money will come? Something like that, right? I'm not saying that one, okay? I don't even really believe in that phrase that much, to be honest, because I'm really passionate about laying on my couch and eating takeaway. Like, who's gonna pay me to do that? Anyway, my version of it is focus on your audience and the money will come, okay? Let me break this down for you. Essentially, from the very beginning of my whole personal brand that I've now built, I've always focused on creating content for my audience. Yes, I made sure that my niche was something I was interested in, which is marketing, entrepreneurship, social media. That's my background, that's what I have a degree in. So of course I picked a niche that I actually cared about. However, when it came to the type of content I was creating, whenever I sit down to prepare for my videos or my Instagram content, whatever it is, I always have my audience in mind, and I always think about what value they can get from whatever it is that I'm sharing. And let me just explain to you why this is so important. If you focus on building your audience, then the money will come afterwards. And the reason why is because focusing on building your audience is the only way for you to actually acquire a high quality audience. So I'm not talking about just becoming a content creator and getting thousands and thousands of people to follow or subscribe to your channel and none of them are actually engaged with anything you're saying, because whilst that might get you a bit of income in the beginning, maybe a few brand partnerships here and there, it's not going to lead to sustainable income, and it's not going to allow you to get to the point where you could quit your full-time job, right? And this strategy is applicable to any type of content creator. So let's say you're a creator who wants to focus on working with brands as a way to make money. If you focus on your audience first and creating content that your audience loves, you'll end up possessing an audience who are super engaged with you. So when you work with these brands, you're going to get them good results, right? Because your audience are engaged with your content, they're likely to take your recommendations and actually to purchase from whatever brand you're promoting. When a brand gets good results from working with you, they're more likely to work with you again. And that's when you can get things like repeat partnerships or long-term partnerships. And those are really the deals which allow you to actually do this full time, right? Because they're really consistent longer term income. So that's one example. On the other hand, if you're a content creator who wants to release products one day, maybe you want to have a merchandise line, maybe you want to offer services and digital products like I do, you still need to focus on building your audience first, because then you're going to end up with a group of followers who want to support you and therefore want to buy your merchandise, or you're going to have a group of supporters who really believe that whatever product or service you're offering can really help them because they've really bought into you and the value that you offer. For me, the fact that I focused on my audience first meant that when I was ready to monetize, my audience was literally just telling me what they wanted from me. Like, you guys were messaging me saying, hey, can you do bespoke audits from me? Or hey, you should start a membership club. Like, you guys were literally giving me the business and product ideas. And it also meant that all of those ideas were already validated because I knew you guys would purchase it, right? So I just can't stress that enough. If you focus on your audience first, the money will come. The second thing that I did, which allowed me to quit my job as quickly as I did and become a full-time content creator, was I started to treat my content creation like a business from the jump. Like, from day one, I was like, cool, so this is gonna be a business. I had absolutely no idea how I was gonna make it work, but I was like, no, I'm gonna treat it like a business. And I'll explain to you what that means. Essentially, when you start to treat your content creation like a business, you start to get a lot more serious about a few elements of it that maybe you would have ignored previously. So there's some of the boring stuff like your finances. You start to actually track how much money you're spending on creating this content, how much time it's taking, that kind of stuff, which again content is boring, but it really helps you out in the long run when you're trying to figure out where best to invest your money and where best to invest your time. Having sight on how long it takes and how much money it takes to produce content is really going to help you out. But also, there's a slightly more exciting side to this, which is when you treat your content creation like a business, you get a lot more serious about your growth, and you often tend to actually make a plan. A lot of the time, what we do when we set out to be creators is that we're like, okay, cool, I'm just going to start posting some stuff on social media. And don't get me wrong, that's a lot of the job, okay? That is the main task. However, when you have a clear sight on how much you want to be posting, which audience you want to be reaching, where you want to be in 1 year, where you want to be in 4 years, what you want to do with the audience that you build. Once you have a sight on these things, it not only becomes a lot more exciting and motivational, but it becomes a lot more likely that you actually reach these goals because you've set them. It's really hard to reach goals that you've not set. I've tried before, it doesn't work. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I really worked on my mindset, and I don't think I went into this with the thought process of, oh my God, I need a good mindset to be a successful content creator. That wasn't it. I actually got into a lot of kind of non-fiction, I hate calling it self-help, but I guess they're kind of self-help type of books about a year before I even started my channel. And that was because I've had other businesses in the past, and I realized the importance of reading those types of books when you're trying to grow any business, right? So that links into my previous point about treating your content creation like a business. I decided, okay, for this journey, I should probably be continuing to read these types of books, because realistically, having a good mindset can't be a bad thing. And I can't express how right I was with that way of thinking. If anything, I think needing a good mindset when you're trying to create content on social media is even more important than needing a good mindset in other areas of your life, because things will knock you down. Your analytics will knock you down. Your audience feedback might knock you down. The process of creating content, burnout, all of these things, you know, creativity blocks, these are all going to pop up at some point in your journey. And if you don't have your mindset in a good place, at least some of the time, these things can potentially result in you quitting. And I think that's what happens a lot. Like, I work with a lot of creators, especially a lot of creators who are almost at the brink of quitting. And majority of the time, the reason for this is their mindset and them not being in a place where they can handle all of these challenges and kind of come back stronger than ever, okay? So I'm actually gonna show you some of my favorite books. They're not in the room, so just 1 minute. Okay. Right, so I'm going to give you a quick run through of some of my favorite books that I recommend reading. All-time favorite, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read this at least once or twice a week. I'll read like a few pages from this book, even though I've already read it twice. I just read it all the time. It's really good for centering yourself and just ensuring that whatever you're doing in life, it's all working towards a bigger purpose and like your life goals. God, that sounded deep. This one, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, that book's really good for money mindset. 4-Hour Work Week, I don't agree with everything said in this book, but it really challenges you to think differently about work life in general. Working Hard or Hardly Working by Grace Beverly, really good for productivity hacks. It basically has like every other good productivity hack that I've ever read in any book. It condenses it plus a few different ones as well. Fuck Being Humble, more about like corporate work this, but it's really good for kind of confidence building and getting you to the point where you can feel good about promoting your YouTube channel or your Instagram page and all that kind of stuff. And Atomic Habits, I mean, absolute classic. And I feel like the title is pretty self-explanatory. It helps you build good habits. So those are some of my favorite books for mastering your mindset as a content creator. I will put links to all of them in the description. Okay, so the next thing is something that I still struggle with to this day, but I always see more results when I remind myself to look at content creation from this point of view. And what this basically is to focus on substance over aesthetics. And what this means is, instead of focusing too much on the backdrop of your YouTube videos or on having the right filter on your Instagram videos and all that kind of stuff, you should actually focus on the substance of the content that you're creating. So all of your content should have a purpose. So whether the purpose of your content is to inspire someone, whether it's to educate someone or entertain someone, there should be some kind of purpose behind all of the content that you're creating, okay? And what this tip is basically saying is, you should focus on the purpose of your content more than what the content looks like. So once you've nailed down the process of continuously creating content that has a purpose, that's when you can move on and start thinking about some of the aesthetics around it. Now, that's not to confuse with basic things like ensuring that the quality of your photos or your videos are high, or that the lighting's good, or that the sound is clear. Those are basic things that you need to have. This is more about the super granular stuff like, oh my God, I don't have a logo yet, or oh, I need to make sure that I've got a really fancy camera or really fancy lighting. Like, I still use my ring light, by the way, which I've been meaning to change for a while and get some proper softbox lighting, but I still use my ring light, and I use my mobile phone to film all my YouTube videos for like over a year into having my channel, and I was able to grow. And the reason why was because I was focusing so much on the substance of my content, right? So this is just to say, if you are someone who's getting yourself a bit caught up on the aesthetic side, take a step back from that and just focus on the substance first. Last but certainly not least, something that I've consistently done since the birth of this channel. Sounds weird saying the birth of this channel. Since the creation of this channel, I don't know. Well, something that I've consistently done is I have never stopped learning. I've consistently had a beginner's mindset. And this could be tricky to maintain sometimes, believe it or not, because what happens, right, is we spend a lot of time in the beginning really learning and honing in on our craft. So whatever it is that we talk about, whatever our niche is, in the beginning stages, we like immerse ourselves in it, right? And we constantly try to learn more about it so that our content is better, more entertaining, more inspirational, more educational, whatever it is. And then once we start to see a few results, we take our foot off the gas a bit because we're like, oh, well, we're growing now. And then we stop learning. We stop trying to improve our content. We stop trying to learn more about our niche because we're growing, and then we kind of tell ourselves that we already know everything. And then maybe one day you see a book or a video about your niche and you think, oh, I should probably watch that just to stay up to date. And then you start watching it and you think, I already know all this stuff. So you just stop watching it. Right? I mean, I know I've consistently had a beginner's mindset, but I will say that I have fallen victim to that sometimes, where I go to read something and I'm like, well, I already know this. And that's not a good way of looking at things, because first of all, learning things twice is never going to hurt you. If anything, it's going to help you retain the information. But secondly, you might know parts of what that book's saying or what that article's saying, right? But you don't know everything. There will be perspectives included in that. There'll be information included in that you have never even thought about before. Consistently learning and broadening your horizons is only going to help you become a better content creator. Do you know what I compare this to? I feel like people will relate to this. My relationship with the gym is I go to the gym consistently when I feel like I'm getting a bit out of shape or I feel a bit like bleh. So I start going to the gym consistently, and then I get in shape, and then I stop because I'm like, oh, I'm in shape now. And then I get out of shape again, and then I go again. There's literally the same thing. It's the same thing. Please let me know in the comments if you feel the same way about the gym so that I feel a bit better. Thanks. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so excited for you guys and all of your journeys. Please let me know in the comments if you found this useful. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about my entire workflow as a content creator. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.